Architas, the multi-manager investment firm that oversees the global dynamic allocation funds, has sold its UK business to Lion Trust. Good morning, AXA. I'm Tin Militante, Advisor Transformation Manager from DLND. Welcome to another season of Investment News Live. Now let's talk about this. What is the real deal? What happened? Why did Architas sell its UK business? Today, we have with us Investment Solutions Director Dexter Agcoy to enlighten us about this transaction. Hi, Dex.
Hi, Tin. Good morning. And good morning to the viewers of Investment News Live.
So tell us what happened. Why did Architas sell their UK business?
Okay, for us to have a better understanding of things, it's good that we first start with the AXA Group strategy. Now, the AXA Group strategy is really to grow the business of Unit Link, particularly in key growth regions, and one of which is actually Asia. Now, Architas, being in UK at the start, was wholly owned before by the AXA UK business. And then in 2018, AXA Group started to have a direct ownership of Architas. So ownership from AXA UK of Architas was then transferred to the AXA Group, which is based in France. And then what we have seen since then was more of a slow divestment of the UK business because AXA wants to focus on key growth regions. And Architas, being wholly owned now by the AXA Group, would also have to start to divest into certain areas where it will not be growing its business. Hence, it has to sell the UK business and then refocus on where AXA Group is growing the business of Unit Linked. One thing that we should also look at is where is Architas growing? And I think that's where things become more interesting. So outside the UK, Architas has grown exponentially to become part of the global business of AXA in supporting the AXA entities and partners Europe and also Asia. Now, we have decided to leverage on this growth and focus on the core strength and scale of Architas.
Okay, so what you're saying is Architas selling the UK business. Ito ay isang bigger strategy ng AXA na to reduce exposure sa UK and to focus on growing regions such as Asia. And Architas is following suit.
Yes, correct. So Architas now is growing its business where AXA is also growing its business as a partner of the Unit Link growth strategy.
Right, given that, anong mangyayari dun sa global dynamic allocation funds natin? Kasi diba Architas yung nag-oversee ng GDAF funds ng AXA.
So, our GDAF funds will not be affected at all because it's really more of just transferring residences. So, if before residing in UK, now there will be like a switch of our headquarters to Paris. And as far as the GDAF funds, they are domiciled in Ireland, which is still outside of UK. So the short story is that it will not be affected. Rather, there's more focus to AXA entities like us.
Okay, great. But this is not without saying na wala nang investments ang GDAF sa UK, yung fund itself.
Correct. So the funds continue to be diversified the way they are, investing across 5 major regions. And if the fund manager sees that opportunity to also still be invested in UK, It is more of the fund investing into UK as looking into the different assets or different fund managers domiciled in UK.
Great, great, fantastic. At least we know that hindi naman pala affected yung pagmamanage ng GDAF natin. Kasi some have been quite worried na inisip na, nako, baka pag nagbenta ni Architas ng UK business nila, it would mean na they are losing money. But as you've been emphasizing it, it's not. It's part of a strategy for us to focus more on the growing regions in the world, right? Are we seeing the same type of strategy moving forward for Architas? Aside from selling their UK business, magbebenta pa ba sila ng ibang business in other parts of the world?
Thank you for that question, Tin. So actually, for this year, what is different is that, one, Architas Asia has been established as a fully functioning asset management firm, which is situated in Hong Kong. Also this year, Architas has expanded in Indonesia, where there is now an Architas Indonesia. So it's really a growth strategy, particularly giving focus to Asia. And in the coming months and years, we'd further see more presence of Architas here in Asia. Like Japan is another market that we're looking to further grow the business because AXA Japan is also one of the key businesses that has unit-linked.
Okay, exciting times for Architas then and exciting times for AXA in 2021.
Yes, it's very much exciting, and we get to leverage more into the expertise of Architas as an asset manager because Architas is our investment partner here in AXA Philippines.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for enlightening us, Dex. At least now, now we know that the Architas sale of their UK business is not something that our distributors should be worried about. Okay, any message that you want to convey to our distributors about Architas and our Global Dynamic Allocation Funds?
Yes. So Architas is our investment partner, and our partnership is not just about the GDAF funds, but also on the different kinds of distributor support that they can bring. One good example is how we have been receiving these investment communications directly to our emails as provided by Architas to update us with global market trends. Also, I know that most of you are already familiar and even using the e-learning platform, Power Circle, which is also provided to us by Architas. Because all of these tools and support are really to help the local entity, AXA Philippines, in educating its distributors, educating its customers, and improving our value proposition to our customers when it comes to wealth advisory, investment advisory, and also coming up with superior investment solutions to our customers.
Okay, thank you, Dex. So I'm glad that we have so much support from Architas, not just in handling our funds, but also in terms of educating ang ating distributors para mas alam nila ano yung sasabihin sa mga customers at mas updated sila sa markets worldwide.
Yes, and there's more to come. As we all know, we have our partnership with the Access program, and them attending and being part of the Access Certified Investment Specialist program would give them that premium access to these distributor support that I've mentioned.
Yes, we will be flashing the training schedules for January for those interested to join the AXA Certified Investment Specialist Program or AXIS program. So stay tuned for more details. Thank you for joining us today, Dex. Ngayon, alam namin na hindi naman pala kailangan ipangamba ang sale ng Architas UK. Okay. Hindi siya nakaka-affect sa ating business Even more so, ang global dynamic allocation funds natin ay well taken care of by our fund managers.
Thank you for having me. And again, to the audience of Investment News Live, thank you. Have a good day.
Alright, so now that we know that Architas selling their UK business to Lion Trust is not a threat as to how we do business here in the Philippines, let's take a look at the set of funds that Architas oversees for us. So we have the Global Dynamic Allocation Funds. Specifically, if we look at GDAF Multi-Asset and GDAF Growth, if we look at the fund fact sheet, we will see that the top holdings would be from the technology sector and healthcare sector. Bakit kaya ito yung mga sectors or industries na pinag-investa ng mga fund managers? If you look at how consumers behave ever since the pandemic started, technology talaga yung nagta-thrive dahil madami sa atin have been working from home, have been meeting virtually, have been shopping virtually, even ordering food online, diba? And yung mga nasa bahay to relax, they watch Netflix or even they go on Facebook, do shopping, sometimes even TikTok, diba? Or use social media, okay, as a means of entertainment. So with that, yung mga tech firms such as Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, nag-grow talaga siya during the pandemic. And we can see that in Nasdaq 100, continuously pataas yung Nasdaq 100 natin. And also sa Asian stocks naman, we have Alibaba, Tencent, Taiwan Semiconductors Manufacturing Corporation, and Samsung growing amid the pandemic. With our Global Dynamic Allocation Funds Multi-Asset and Global Dynamic Allocation Funds Growth, pwedeng makapag-invest ng ating customers sa mga funds na to. Because GDAF as a structure is actually a fund of funds, meaning they are invested in different funds across the globe. And so when our customers invest in GDAF Multi-Asset or GDAF Growth, they are indirectly investing also in tech firms such as Amazon, Netflix, Tencent, Alibaba, and Samsung. Another sector that the GDAF Multi-Asset and GDAF Growth are heavily invested in would be the healthcare sector. At bakit? Simply because ngayon, amid the pandemic, we are still looking for viable vaccines, for cures, for treatments for the pandemic. Pfizer has already started and has already been approved for use, but we are looking at other healthcare companies and pharmaceutical companies following suit. So, by investing in GDAF Multi-Asset and investing in GDAF Growth, we are also indirectly being invested in Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson and Johnson. So, yan ang benefit actually na makuha ng customers natin when they invest in our Global Dynamic Allocation Funds. For customers who have a moderate risk profile or aggressive risk profile, the GDAF Multi-Asset and the GDAF Growth are perfect funds for them respectively. Okay, so this being said, ano ang advantage ng pag-invest sa GDAF? Simply by putting in money in a Global Dynamic Allocation Fund, yung investors natin have access to different regions of the world. Hindi lang sila exposed to one region as compared to, let's say, if they're just invested in the Philippines, in the local markets, kung ano man mangyari dito sa Pilipinas, kung ano yung economy natin dito sa Pilipinas, how the stock market is performing here in the Philippines, vulnerable sila dun sa events na to. But if they spread out their investments, if they invest also abroad, such as putting in money in the Global Dynamic Allocation Funds, putting money offshore as well, then they can ride on the growth of different regions. At the same time, they can also spread out the risk, okay? Dahil hindi nga sila vulnerable sa isang circumstance, then it means that they kunyari, for example, may portion ng kanilang investment ay at a loss, but also since they're invested in other regions, in other industries, then pwedeng umaakyat yung ibang parts ng kanilang investment. So, simply put, with the Global Dynamic Allocation Funds, our customers can diversify in terms of region. They can ride on the growth of different economies and markets, okay? And also diversify in terms of asset class. Okay? Specifically for GDAF multi-asset, invested yan in both bond funds and equity funds. Take note that Architas only selects the best of the best fund managers. So, in terms of overseeing our global dynamic allocation funds, ang pinipili lang ni Architas na mag-work with them in terms of handling the funds would be the creme de la creme. May it be the best fund manager in a certain region or the best fund manager in terms of handling a certain asset class. So our customers, when they invest in the Global Dynamic Allocation Funds, they can have the peace of mind that their investments are being taken care of by the best fund managers in the whole world. That being said, okay, the fund managers monitor the investments day in and day out. They do extensive research as to ano ba yung pinaka-viable investments na dapat paglagyan ng pera. Okay. When they find an opportunity to ride on a certain growth, they go ahead and buy that investment. Okay. Conversely, they also sell investments when they want to take profit already or if they want na napansin nila na okay, baka mag-drop na yung market. So we're gonna reduce our exposure, okay? Sell that asset, sell that investment, and then use the money na lang to buy more investments na mas viable. Okay. So, that's actually one advantage of the Global Dynamic Allocation Funds dahil actively managed siya at hindi lang siya simply nag-track ng certain index. Hindi lang siya nag-track, let's say, ng Nasdaq 100 and follows the performance of Nasdaq 100. With the Global Dynamic Allocation Funds, may active decision-making na ginagawa ang fund managers natin for our customers. Please do remember that the GDAF multi-asset and GDAF growth funds are for moderate and aggressive investors. Para sa ating conservative investors, we have GDAF Stable, which is invested in global bond funds. Ngayon, ang Global Dynamic Allocation Funds natin ay hindi lang accessible sa ating dollar-denominated policyholders. Our regular pay peso policyholders can now have access to the Global Dynamic Allocation Funds through the peso-denominated dollar funds. Specifically, existing customers of Life Basics, Accelerator, and My Life Choice. In addition, our single-pay peso policyholders can also have access to the Global Dynamic Allocation Funds, specifically policyholders of Ambition X, 3G Exceed, and Asset Master. So, what are you waiting for? Review those policies, check your list of customers, and see which clients would want to invest in our Global Dynamic Allocation Funds. In today's episode, we learned that Architas selling their UK business to Lion Trust is part of AXA's big strategy and does not affect the management of our Global Dynamic Allocation Funds. Our GDAF continue to be viable investments for our customers who want to look into global diversification. Should you wish to know more about our Global Dynamic Allocation Funds as well as our Access program, we will be flashing the training schedules and LMS modules on your screen. Also, your thoughts, opinions, and feedback are important to us. We want to know what you want to know. Please do take time to answer our survey so that we may understand how we can help you better. Thank you for joining us today. We will see you again next week, same time, same place. Again, I'm Tin, and this has been Investment News Live.